Hello friends from Ren Ref. This is a video kind of summarizing my primary source. Before I start describing the primary source, I'm going to kind of get you guys up to speed on the context of what was going on at the time. So here we go. The Ottomans had come in and they'd taken Mohawks and Budapest and killed King Louis II of Hungary. Now that King Louis is dead, the Archduke Ferdinand of Austria is married to Queen Anna of Hungary. He wants this area now. So he's fighting the Ottomans to take that. His brother is Charles V of Spain. Spain is also fighting the Ottomans to get this area. So there's a whole bunch of war going on, especially right here. This is where it's really happening. So with that war going on, there is the primary source that I read was a spy report written by Mehmed to the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. Now, this spy report is a recording of information given to Mehmed by an Albanian merchant named Duka. Now, this Albanian merchant traded within the Adriatic Sea. That's this area right here. Now, the Adriatic Sea was a very prime location, given that it was right next to where the war was going on, and it was right also next to Rome, which was the capital of the Catholic world. So, prime spot to get information. Also, Duca traded in mohair cloth, which was very valuable at the time, and that meant that he was constantly interacting with higher-ups within European society, especially Catholic higher-ups. So this guy had some valuable information. Now, the report contains information regarding a whole bunch of things. There's information about Spanish naval positions within the Mediterranean. There's information about Spanish troops in Hungary and in Vienna. And there's also information regarding some political crap between Austria, Spain, and Venice. While that is obviously important, what I found most interesting was information regarding the Reformation and what was going on in that context. Now, the report had information about this guy named Martin Luther, believe it or not. Now, get this. Martin Luther, according to this report, was a savage. He went and he started his own religion, raised an army of 30,000 men, and actually engaged Charles V in battle and defeated him. And was pressing forward to defeat Charles V and create an entire new religion in Austria. Now, obviously, this is incorrect. Martin Luther never raised an army, and he never fought in any battles. We know that to be 100% true. So now the question is, what was the source of this misinformation? Well, there's a lot of debate on it. There seems to be some agreement to the fact that this came from, this rumor started from the fact that the reformer Zwingli and his conflict between the Catholics. Some say that maybe this conflict was somehow transmitted from ear to ear all the way to this area in the Adriatic Sea, and when Duca heard it, he heard this sort of weird version of it, a lot of misinterpretation, but it's argued that the battle between Zwingli and the Catholics was where it originated from. This is, I think, is pushing it, really stretching it a little bit, because in that battle, Zwingli lost. The reformers lost, and Zwingli was executed. So I just don't see any correlation how that big of a difference could be misinterpreted. But anyway, that's not really the point. The point of this that's really interesting is just how interested the Ottomans were in the Reformation and what was going on in that situation, and how pertinent the Reformation was to the Ottomans. Now, just imagine you're at war with two of these Catholic nations that are like the powerhouses of Europe at that time, and you get word that there's a possible religious rebellion happening in the country that you are directly at war with in this area. Now, imagine if Martin Luther really had defeated Charles V. That means that two things could happen. There's civil war going on in Germany between Catholics and Reformers. And if you have a civil war going on in Austria or Germany or the Habsburg Empire, whatever you want to call that area, if you have a civil war going on in that area, that is a huge advantage to the Ottomans. If that's not the case, let's say you have the Reformers actually take over Austria and Austria becomes reformed. Then you have conflict between Austria and Spain. Either way, this is good news for the Ottomans. Now, unfortunately for the Ottomans, things never got to that level. The reformed princes in the Habsburg Empire actually agreed to help Ferdinand in his effort against the Ottomans. And the reason they did this was because they were not yet strong enough to challenge Charles V, who threatened to take them out if they didn't help Ferdinand. So the Reformation, first of all, Luther never fought Charles V in battle, and the Reformation never reached a point where there was civil war, or at least it didn't reach that point at the time that this primary source was written. But either way, super interesting to just see the Ottoman perspective of the Reformation, what was going on. There's so much more to it, but I don't have time to say it all. So read my summary, talk to me about it. Super interesting. I can give you the primary source, or you can talk to Dr. Francisco about it. Super cool. And yeah, that's my video.